was supposed to be a nice night in the woods eventually turned into a nightmare. My wife and I were going to set up our tent and have a lovely time there, surrounded by nature. Little did I know, things would take an unexpected turn. How well do you really know the person you love? What would you do if the one you trust most leads you into a trap? If you discovered something terrifying about your partner, would you run or stay to uncover the truth? Beat that like button and subscribe, and lock in. I hadn't seen Christine in 2 months because she had been contracted to restore some historical buildings in South America, mainly Argentina and Uruguay, so we couldn't be happier to spend some quality time together. I'm a police officer and we live in Ely, a small town that's easy to miss in northern Minnesota, near the beautiful Chagall Lake. We started packing and I was double-checking to see if we didn't forget anything. Christine was so excited to go kayaking. She loved doing it on her days off and she was clearly missing it after all this time away. "Ethan, I cannot wait. Come on, are you done? Let's go already," she said, the rays of the sun reflecting from her blonde hair. "I missed you so much, Christine," I told her, gently caressing her face. On the way there we stopped at a decrepit gas station to fuel up and buy some diet chips and soda. Behind the counter there was this odd-looking guy. He had a big mole on his nose. He was sweating non-stop. The cap on his head was soaked, and he had a twitching eye that was smaller than the other one. On the left side of his face, he had a big burn and it looked like someone punished him for something bad he had done by placing a hot iron on his cheek. As we were taking a turn to enter the road leading to the woods, the scenery changed its color from the monotonous asphalt gray of the highway to the enchanting green of the lively forest. It seemed like time was passing in a different fashion here and the trees looked very old, standing tall the test of time. We arrived just in time to catch a few more hours of daylight and decided to set up camp by the lake. We started unpacking, got our tent in place, the kayak was ready to go and Christine was as happy as a kid watching the ice cream truck on a sunny day. We chilled for another half an hour, all listening to the sweet sound of birds singing and waves hitting the shore. After that we took a small hike and we reached an open area, filled with green grass and tall trees. The other thing is opened recently is my store. Check it in the description. "Ethan, this is fabulous. Look at this place. The forest looks alive. Let's sit on that mossy lodge over there for just a bit and then we can go kayaking," Christine said, absolutely impressed with this. She looked like she really needed this trip. "Yes, honey, this is great. I'm enjoying it so much," I said, inhaling the fresh air of the woods. The lake was perfect for our adventure. We started paddling and Christine was really enjoying it, but all of a sudden a sense of dread came over me as I saw some shadows moving behind the trees. I decided to ignore them, as they were probably some animals. We arrived back at camp. It was around 8 p.m., so we had another hour to cook dinner and watch the sunset. The view over the lake was fantastic. Christine really enjoyed the food and before we knew it, night came. We sat outside the tent on a blanket, watching the starry sky. Everything was exactly as it should be. Christine was smiling at me. We were so happy. We even saw a falling star. We both wished for something. Then we started making love. Her blue eyes were lit up with desire. Needless to say, it felt really passionate. The mild breeze made the leaves rustle and our hearts were beating faster than ever. We then fell asleep in a lover's embrace. I woke up in the middle of the night, all sweaty and thirsty. Christine was missing. Scared, I started screaming her name. "Christine, where are you? Chris," I yelled in desperation, my screams lost in the fastness of the night. Nothing came back. I dressed quickly, grabbed a flashlight and went to search for my wife. Being a police officer, I never lose my calm in tough situations like these, but now it was really tough, because I love her and she's missing. I ran like crazy for what seemed like hours, but she was nowhere to be found. I didn't know what was going on, so I kept searching and searching. Ultimately, I decided to go back to the tent just to find it all ravaged like it was attacked by some wild beast. "What's happening here? Is there someone there? Christine, where are you?" I screamed until my throat was raw. As I was looking around to see if I could find anything, I saw a tree with a wooden pentagram tied to it and dripping. A piece of her nightgown was on the ground. I quickly went to the car to get my gun and start looking for Christine again. I needed to kill whatever was holding her captive. The tires had been slashed and the windows were broken. Fortunately, the gun was well hidden and whatever or whoever thrashed our tent and car didn't manage to get it. I was running low on battery, so I was really glad to find my extra battery lying on the floor. Luckily, it was not damaged. Enraged and dejected, I started going through the woods and every branch seemed to point that I should move forward. The stars above were my only guide as I went deeper, not knowing what I would find. I heard a branch cracking behind me, turned around quickly, but there was no one there. After that, I heard a cry for help. "Ethan, hurry up. They have me. Please, hurry." I started following the sound of her voice until I reached an open area in the woods where I found what looked like a church. It was the same area that we saw earlier in the day, but how was it possible? Right beside that mossy log, this wooden church appeared. It was painted black, with light coming from inside it, while a thick fog was enshrouding it. A metallic fence was surrounding it, the front gates open wide, while the hinges were creaking under the light of the moon. The building looked ancient, like it was over 1,000 years old. It seemed not of this world, and more so, it looked evil. It looked like a place where nightmares come to life, and pain was its favorite meal. I was watching cautiously from behind the trees and couldn't believe my eyes. Last time I was in this area, there was nothing there. So, it must have been built recently. But how and why did it look so old? How was it built so fast? Impossible. Was I lured here? What was I to find when I sneak in? I decided to approach the building carefully, with small steps. I went to the left side of the building, keeping my grip firm on the gun. I raised my head a little, just to look inside, where I saw some sort of a gathering. I noticed hooded people chanting and raising their hands to the ceiling. They had a live lamb placed on a stone. Their leader approached it and began an incantation. Mother Furia, take this offering as a gift from us to you. Oh, unholy goddess of chaos and destruction, protect us and let us live to do your bidding. Then, she cut its neck open and started painting the. She then called one of the people in the group. They both removed the hoods from their heads, and as I looked in despair, not understanding anything at all anymore, I saw my wife talking with the guy from the gas station. I recognized by the burn on his face. Christine was wearing a crown of branches on her head and some sort of makeup that was dripping down from her face. On her forehead, a half moon was painted with the lamb. My loving wife began to berate her followers as my heart shattered into a million pieces. She wants human sacrifice, and she wants it fast. Her patience is wearing thin. That's why I came here with him. You were supposed to catch him while he was sleeping. Why did you fail? Why? I put something in his drink to make him sleep longer. You had one job to do. Take some men with you and find him fast. Go now, my wife said, enraged to the utter failure of her men. Out of nowhere, I saw my wife floating in midair, like she was possessed by some unknown entity, probably this Furia goddess. Her eyes rolled back and turned white, as she said in an unholy voice, while throwing the lamb in a wall, I am hungry. I am hungry. I need to eat. Bring him to me. Then she quickly came back to her senses, as my skin prickled with horror. My time with the Force taught me to be strong in situations like this, and so I kept my composure. I heard a cracking behind me, and as I turned I saw one of the cultists trying to attack me. I blocked him, punched him in the face and shot him, and eventually killed him. Then I dragged the back to the woods, stole his clothes and dressed up like one of them. My battery is running low, reception is pretty bad, and I can't make any phone calls from here. I am hiding behind a tree, thinking of what I should do next. Now I can't leave the woods. I must find out what happens and who my wife really is. What would you do if the person you love most became a stranger before your eyes? How far would you go to uncover the truth, even if it meant losing everything? I'm curious to know, what do you think about all this? If this gets 100 likes, I will drop an update this week.